I was flying on 9/11.
Yeah.
It was life-changing, career-changing. The way that we looked at our job was completely different. And it was a tough day. It was good to get home to my family that day.
Yeah.
So. Ever since I was small, I can see pictures of me with airplanes and guitars, and those are still the two things I like right now. But back then, to keep it in retrospect, it was $14 an hour to rent an airplane. The previous weekend, I'd rented a snowmobile for $10 an hour. I'm like, for $4 more an hour, I could learn how to fly. The instructor was only another $8, so I could come up with $22 a week for my lesson. Then it could happen. Pretty much the short of it is I started at 15, soloed at 16, and ran out of money at 17. And got back into it at 19 and thought I was really too old. Time had passed me by. I once was young, but now I'm 19. But I thought I'd give it a shot anyway and go at it full speed. For my 19th birthday, I bought myself a flight lesson to go up and revisit my failed past to see if I could capture my dream. And the instructor said I really wasn't far off from finishing it, that I'd retained a lot of my skills. So it worked out. I went and finished my private license in one summer, got my commercial instrument that summer, and then took a leave of absence from Boston College, where I was attending, to head down to Daytona Beach to go to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and that's where I got my training to be a flight instructor, which provided me with my first job. And I kind of entered into it with the lifelong ultimate goal of flying for the major airlines, but that was not assured. It was actually, we were in an economic downturn and there were pilots being laid off, and a lot of people were discouraging me from entering into the field. I thought, if I can make a living flying an airplane and have a roof over the head and some food, then I'll fly a small twin-engine airplane the rest of my life and be pretty happy. So I interviewed around the state of Florida and took a job in Gainesville. And that turned out very well. I worked as a flight instructor, ground instructor, and the chief pilot allowed me to enter into the charter department and start doing some charter flying in the twin-engine airplanes. So in that year of flying, I logged about 1,200 hours of flight time, which allowed me, with the time I already had, to go for my airline transport pilot license. I've had failures and such, and probably one of the worst ones I had too was when I was flying for that small regional airline out of Boston. And just as we were joining the instrument approach and we were in instrument conditions, couldn't see outside, we had a complete electrical failure at night. And I knew that the controller's last words to me was, "You are X number of miles from a certain fix, now cleared for the approach." So I knew that our distance from where we were to where that fix was, and then the fix to the airport, was about the same. So we had something on our approach chart that's a time-based thing. So that's what I used to get me down to altitude where we could see the runway. We had our flashlights out, descended down, broke out of the overcast at about 700 feet. And we could see the runway, but we could also see there was an airplane on the runway. So we had to go around and fly low altitude back around, come in and land. So that was probably one of the more difficult emergencies. Also, I was flying for the University of Florida Athletic Department. I would fly the assistant coaches out to scout, and then I'd bring the head coach in to do the big sales pitch with the parents, and then I'd bring the recruit back to Gainesville for the weekend. I did that also at the same time. The company I worked for did air ambulance flying for Shands Hospital. And I found that to be very rewarding. I was flying, we had a specialty where anytime a baby was born anywhere in the state of Florida that had a severe heart or respiratory problem, we had to be airborne within an hour And they would do open heart surgery on a baby that was no bigger than the length of your hand. Because of this furlough thing, I got to finish my degree. There happened to be a school in Gainesville. So I became a Florida Gator. I graduated from UF the same week that the air traffic controllers went on strike. So I had plans to go to some other options, but there was still a job offer remaining in New Orleans, flying for a regional airline there. So I flew there for 2 years, a year in each seat, co-pilot a year, captain a year. Flew 727s as flight engineer for about 8 months and about a year as co-pilot, and then got hired with American Airlines and been there 37 years. Can I just add one thing in?
Yeah, go ahead.
The only thing I wanted to add is if there's anyone watching this who's at all thinking about flying for a living, they should be encouraged to know that it's now easier than ever. I work as an instructor at a local high school, and there are students that have come out of this high school, gone to four-year schools like Purdue, gotten their degree, gotten their flight experience, and gotten hired right out of college into the right seat of a regional airline for the majors, and just a couple years later they're with the majors.